All right, we will open it up first for an opening statement from Coach and then questions for Coach. And if you have a question, raise your hand. Make sure you get recognized by the table, and we'll get the wireless microphone over to you from JC. But opening statement from Coach.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good basketball game, two really competitive teams who know each other well. And I think if the kind of irony is that the two games we played in the regular season, neither one was that close. And the one at our place, we got blown out in the first half, and the one at their place, they got blown out in the second half. So I knew, or at least figured it'd be a lot more competitive and tight throughout, and it was. And they have Maddie, and sometimes that's, not to discredit their other players, but sometimes that's enough. That was the difference today, obviously. Not just 37 points, but doing it on 21 shots is tough. And I thought we did for the most part. We did all right on her. We gave her the one wide open three, two wide open threes late. She made the first one, missed the second. But other than that, she throws the ball in sometimes, and it doesn't look like she's looking. And that's just how talented she is. And so anyway, I thought we got a great look at the end. Lauren made a great basketball play, and I thought she was great down the stretch. Emma had a big game, and we had a chance to win. And what I told the team is, one, I wouldn't be any more proud of you guys if we had won that game than losing by one possession. It doesn't. That's irrelevant in terms of, I think, the quality of the team that we are and the character that we have. And two, this was great preparation for the NCAA tournament. I'd like one more game like this to prepare for the NCAA tournament, but to play two one-possession games against two really good teams is going to be great for us in 12-ish days when we play against somebody. So I'm disappointed, but I'm excited because I think we showed what kind of team we are. I thought Villanova obviously did what they needed to do. So.
All right, first question here, second row on the right.
Coach, Stratton State, Daily Campus. What about games like this do help you prepare for the NCAA tournament? The Big East has been so deep. Just can you elaborate on that a little, please?
Yeah, I told him. I said I'm not saying we're going to mirror the success that we had in last season's postseason, because obviously unless you're South Carolina, you got to have a little bit of luck or good fortune. But I think the league is better. I told him the league is better this year than it was a year ago, and the preparation that we had both in the non-conference a year ago and in the conference was really good, and it prepared us to make a run in the NCAA tournament. And I don't see any difference other than I think the league is even better than it was a year ago, and we actually upgraded our non-conference schedule and played Stanford and teams like that. So we'll be ready. I think I'm excited because I feel like the pressure for one is important, right? You can't replicate regular season basketball. There's pressure involved, but postseason basketball there's more pressure. So you get kids that get that opportunity and hopefully get some of the nerves out. But you also, as a coach, you can see who responds under pressure maybe a little bit more than other kids. So like I said, I'm excited because I think this was really good prep for the NCAA tournament.
Johnny in the back row.
Hey, Coach. Johnny Soper, Big East Digital.
Yeah.
How'd you guys try and defensively scheme against Maddie? I know that's an impossible task,
Yeah.
but what were you trying to do, and what did she do to make it difficult for your defense tonight?
Well, she can turn over either shoulder. She moves so well without the ball. She jumps. They force you to switch enough that you end up with a smaller player on her, and she jumps over the smaller player. So they're creative that way. And then she's a really good offensive rebounder. The big rebound on the air ball late. When we play them, we say, or when we play them the last couple years, we say we got to limit our offensive rebounds, okay, and we've got to kind of take away threes, and we helped on the post on her on post ups a decent amount, but we switched matchups too. We played her with bigs, but we also played her quite a bit with Rachel Saunders, who's 5'8", and Rachel can can take away threes and get up on her. But then you're going to need some help in the post. But we've played them enough that I think our kids have an understanding. It was, Mullen hit 2 threes, and we kind of banked on maybe being able to help off of her, and they had some other kids make threes. Oriel makes a late 3 that was a big shot. So we did a great job on Olsen, and it's not just Maddie, because if the last game we played them, Burke hit 5 threes in the first quarter. So we said we can't let Burke and Olsen go off. Let's say we hold Maddie to 20 or 22. If Burke gets 3 to 5 threes and we don't do a good job on Lucy, then it doesn't matter.
Tim here in the front.
Coach, you mentioned that Oriole 3 that gave them their biggest lead of the game at 7. I mean, it kind of felt like last night, a little deja vu. So, I mean, how'd you see your team's preparation to, weather that storm and get it down to striking distance where you had a chance to tie the game in the final seconds?
Yeah, no question. Last night helped us today. I think anytime you've experienced something that recent, your memory and your belief is greater because of the recency of that comeback. So I felt like our body language was good. In timeouts, we said there's still plenty of time. I mean, they're gritty on defense, though. They're hard to score against. I mean, and with their length, and so that it was. It's about stopping Maddie, but it's also about we bogged down on offense several times, and but yeah, I didn't question that we 7's more than you want it to be, but it's not insurmountable based on the fact that we held them to 63. It wasn't like we didn't defend pretty well. We just didn't defend Maddie as well as you'd want, but that's because she's just really damn good.
Mel, right here in the front. We'll get the microphone over to you.
Mel Greenberg.
Yeah.
In a sense, your own program is now going higher. But when you look around the country and all season, Pac-12, Stanford,
Yeah.
Utah comes along, champion today, Washington State.
Oh, they win?
Yeah, over UCLA.
Yeah. Okay.
You look, Atlantic, Rhode Island, UMass all year, winner of 500 St. Louis. Is that the type of thing for coaches trying to go there? You go to that summer and say, look at that and say, why not us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just share a quick anecdote, and that's when we were at Stanford, we played them actually right after Tennessee played them, and John Harper, who's an assistant at Tennessee for Kelly, married to her also, he just said that he thinks there will be he thinks there will be a non-Power 5 team other than UConn in the Final Four in the next couple of years. So whether he's right or wrong, I don't know, but I do feel like there's that opportunity. And we were, had we maybe not played South Carolina, we would have had a little better chance last year. But I do think that there is hope.
Flan, we look forward to hearing the Jays' name called on the selection show. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you all.
consecutive title game appearances.
I was born.
And Maddie's 37 points, one shy of the Villanova record for points in the Big East tournament for a single game. Opening statement from Coach.
Well, excited to be in this position. What a great battle against an extremely talented Creighton team. And we knew it would be a good matchup, but it was certainly matched evenly. Pulled out a close one and super excited to get another chance to play.
We'll do questions first for Maddie. Raise your hand. We'll get the microphone over to you. We'll start over here on the second row, and we'll move the microphone around. So questions for Maddie first, please.
Glenn Papazian, PhillyCollegeSports.com. And Maddie, what does it say about the tenacity and the will of this team now to have 2 straight games come down the wire, yet you're able to pull it out?
I think we knew coming into this tournament that every game, was going to be a battle, and we practice late game situations all the time, and just trying to stay calm and execute down the stretch. And I think we've been able to do that the last 2 games.
Hands up. Any questions? Tim? We'll get the microphone over to you.
So, Maddie, I mean, you had obviously your career a big time night, but I mean, how important was it to see, the role player stepping up, like Caitlin Oriole hitting a quarter 3 to give you your biggest lead of the game in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Nobody can do it all by themselves, so I need my teammates. And I think, Chris stepped up huge today. Caitlin, Lucy always facilitates, and she had an unbelievable game yesterday. And I think, everyone's just, confident when they shoot the ball, and I think that's the biggest thing. And then, you see the results, like games like today, they're able to hit some big shots down the stretch.
Go back here in the second row again.
Hey, Maddie, on that last defensive possession, looked like the team came out with such a sense of purpose. What was it that you were saying to each other as you came back out on the floor after the timeout?
Just one stop. That's how we end practice all the time, is you got to get one stop. So, just going like that, we weren't going to bail them out. We knew what we were doing on the screens, and, everyone, we had to get the rebound. So I think we did a good job of that. Yeah.
Anything else from Maddie? All right, we'll let her go to her next stop, and we'll reset here for Coach. If we could have quiet in the press room, please. All right, raise your hand if you have a question for Coach. We'll start here in the middle and work our way down.
And Coach, it looked like in the second half, the on-the-ball defense and maybe even defensive communication had improved. Did you see that, and can you talk about the impact that it had?
Well, to be honest, I think it was more, it was a combination. I thought the first half, Creighton was just shooting lights out, getting looks that they wanted. I thought we were stepping off a little bit, and then recognizing that. We talked about at halftime, just having to turn it up on the defensive end, and just the pride. That's something, this group really understands, that in order for us to have success, to get the result they may want, it's got to be on the defensive end. So everyone did turn it up a notch. But early, I think it was as that second quarter was wrapping up, taking a couple charges against them, that just fired up the defense a little bit more. And just the recognition, they can all score. All the players on the floor for Creighton can score the basketball. So it was each individual for us had a little gut check to find a way to get some big stops.
Right here in the middle.
Owen Hewitt, the Villanovan. Your team is now 7-2 in games decided by 5 or fewer points. What do you think it is about your team played more games than decided by 5 or fewer than any other team in the conference? What do you think about your team gives it that advantage when it comes down to the wire and when things are close?
Yeah, well, I think it's what we often talk about, making it a possession game. Some games, some teams you're going up against, you can be outmatched in some areas, but continuing to try and keep it as a possession game and then give yourselves the best shot of having that ball at the end. So just as Maddie said, just understanding in today's case, it was a matter of getting that final stop. So working on all those situations, maybe, we should switch it up a little and do some some longer periods of time instead of focusing in on those last 4 minutes of games. But they're finding a way, just being in that spot and just connecting and doing whatever's necessary to get
Right
the
here.
win.
Sorry, right here in the middle still.
And that last possession, with the 11 seconds left, you go into the timeout, think you have a tie-up in your
Yep.
ball, come out. it's intentional foul, 2 shots. Now you're only up 2,
Right.
and they have the ball. What were you saying? What was the message there? Because it obviously flipped the script, almost complete 180 there.
Yeah, it sure did. We just took the time because I don't think the players were aware of what was happening. And we just looked at them and said, all right, now it's time to really get the stop that we need. And I felt it was great growth by all of them. I mean, Maddie had the mindset throughout, like every time we were in a timeout, just saying, like, settle in, like we have it. But for some of the younger ones to just realize, like, oh, okay, we don't have the ball. We got to get another stop. Let's go. So I was really proud of the growth.
Way in the back.
Tomorrow will be the second straight Big East championship against Villanova and UConn. Just what are your thoughts ahead of that matchup about, what you guys have done the past 2 days and what UConn has done the past 2 days?
Right. Well, what your ultimate goal is to get to that championship game. I mean, everyone talks in conference play of winning a championship, so you got to do a lot of work in order to get there. So this team has done what's necessary to get there, and they're familiar with UConn, and they know to beat the best, you got to be a lot better. So we got work to do.
Tim here in the front.
So, Coach, I mean, in terms of the complete contrast in games, like UConn's blown both their opponents out, and you guys have eked one out each time out. I guess the big question now I have is seeing how UConn has been defensively and the spark they've gotten with AZ back. I mean, how do you try to get your offense ready? Obviously, Maddie is more than game to take that defense on, but getting the rest of the troops ready to challenge them like you did in the regular season twice.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is everyone on the floor being a threat, being an option, not trying to make something happen, allowing the offense to work for them. So you know you're going to get the pressure. You know the physicality aspect will be there. So just kind of settling in, taking one possession at a time, not getting caught up or worrying about what didn't go our way maybe the first time.
Anything else for Coach? Mel? We'll get you the microphone.
So a year ago at this time, you got here, the whole talk was on the outside, bubble,
Right.
whatever. And the question was, do you feel you've done everything you needed to get in? It was a positive. You think you've done everything necessary to stay in that 60?
I do. I mean, looking at our body of work to date and then getting here in the tournament and 2 great wins going in that third, I think we could solidify it if we do what is really necessary, but we're certainly in the conversation and will continue to be.
All right, anything else for Coach? All right, Coach, thanks. We'll see you
Thank you.
tomorrow.